Checky. Whoop-de-woo. What's going on out there this fine Tuesday evening in MECA land? How's everybody doing out there tonight? I hope everybody's off to a good start to their week. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Got all those speakers and wires they wanted. I guess it's New Year's Eve this eve. So hope everybody's gearing up, ready for a fun day tomorrow. Hope everybody has a safe New Year's. I'm going to have Mr. Joe on here with me tonight. I figured since I had Tony on a couple weeks ago, get him on here this evening. Talk a little bit about rules, finals, all that good stuff. What our goals might be for the year. Of course, give you guys opportunity to ask us questions and stuff like always. So, like I said, I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. What's going on, Mr. Jeffrey? Before I get Joe on here real quick, we do have some events coming up. We've got events coming at you guys this coming weekend, I think. January 3rd and 4th, Mississippi Mayhem. It'll be back-to-back 2X events there in Meridian, Mississippi. January 3rd and 4th. Be Miss Melissa Hall and John Ray out there, I think. Maybe Eli. So get out there and see the MECA crew, Meridian, Mississippi, this coming weekend, January 3rd and 4th. Following that up, we have a show in Florida on the 17th of January and Destination Daytona in Ormond, Florida. That'll be a 3X eastbound get down. And then January the 25th, Florida will have a show up there in the Panhandle, Milton, Florida at Archie Glover Boat Ramp. January 25th, the Demo Squad. That'll be a 2X event there. And then Shannon and I are heading to Florida February. So February 7th, we'll have our 4X there. We moved the location to the Hernando County Fairgrounds so we could be there with ACCL. And I think, I don't know who all is going to be there, but I know it's going to be multi-orgs. I think it's maybe Base War, ACCL, and Musical Wars with us. So we're going to do our 4X there. So we put that together, and then we're going to have a training on the 8th. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you're looking for that. That's coming up there in February. And then rounding out for now, what I got coming at you guys, February 14th, we got Quake X at the Northeast County Fairgrounds in Florida, Callahan, Florida. And then also Cupid's Out the Shack, February the 14th in Temple, Texas. So I think those are the events we have coming towards you guys here in the next month or two here, month and a half. The one that's coming up immediately, Mississippi Mayhem. So I'm going to let that one run for a minute. Check my chat over here. What's going on, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Kramer, Mr. JC Crane, and Mr. Haslage? Let's see. World records can only be set on Sunday at finals, but you can also set world records at 4X events, David. So you can do it throughout the year at a 4X event also. What's going on, Mr. Brandon David? All right, I think I'm caught up on the chat now. So, like I said, that's what we have coming up for you guys. We are looking forward to the training we have coming up in February, the day after our Forex. So, like I said, if you're interested in that, I know we've already got several folks coming. We've got a few flying down or in. I don't know if they're all going to be down, but so like I said, if you're interested in that, make sure you get with Shannon and get yourself signed up for the training. Once the new website's up, I'll have it there, David. But right now, I have a list. It's just not really posted anywhere, but I do have a list. So, but once the new website's ready, there will be a page for it. And to be honest with you, I've been meaning to work on there's a couple of lists I've been meaning to work on and get them posted, but this holidays has been kind of different and weird for me, and I've let a few things slide through the cracks, I think, but hopefully I'll get that together for you guys so you can see it before we really get going here, and I'll post them to Facebook or something like that. What's going on, Miss Melinda, Mr. Philip Schleybaugh, Miss Christina? How you guys doing this evening, guys and girls? I hope you guys are having a good week so far. Like I said, I'm going to have Joe on here with me in just a few minutes. Appreciate everybody that's on here watching right now. Like it up, share it up. If you're not following us, make sure you follow. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, all that good stuff. What's going on, Mr. Whitworth? I think that's really all I had right this second. Same old stuff. We're still pushing, working on the website. I'm working on a few other things behind the scenes here. We're going okay on the rule stuff. I'm getting ready to, I think, be into the MECA Kids and SPL part here soon. What's going on, Mr. Carroll, Mr. Roman Jason, Mr. Nathan C., Miss Whitney. All right. See here if I can figure out how to work this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Joe in here with us. And there we go. Get the chat box back up. What's going on, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Miller? How you doing, Joe? Maybe. Did I lose your audio?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I just thought I lost you for a second. What's going on, Mr. Mosley?
No, I had it muted. It was my fault.
So, like I said, if you guys got questions, you can ask us questions. But I figured I'd just bring Joe on and maybe kind of, ask him a few things about about finals and the year and what we're doing and all that good stuff, the year coming up. So if you don't have questions, I'm sure me and Joe can talk for an hour. So
we do several times a week. Sometimes 4 or 5 hours or something crazy.
What's going on, Mr. Spalding? Yeah, I'll get a bill one day. Philip said, "What's up?" So I guess while we wait for where these guys to ask us questions, if they got questions, I'd just kind of maybe shoot from the hip here. And, as most of you know, Joe's our head R&E, our head sound pressure guy. So Michael Haslage asked why the SPL gods hate me. I don't know if we should answer that on live, Michael. We have no comment.
I think it's the car. The car is cursed.
The car is cursed.
Yeah, I think it's the car. It was a lot of work just to get it to do any kind of score. And I think it's just fighting that car. It's just not made for what we do. That's for sure.
A lot of them are a fight, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that car he's ripped the floor. I mean, it's just things like that. Like I think now there's a firewall issue or something like that. The score is just all over the place. There's too many things going on with that car. But
Well, I guess while we're waiting for some good questions, if you guys got
we'll
any
figure it out, I'm sure.
questions, shoot them.
Or we won't. We'll always fight it. I don't know.
What's going on, Mr. Hibbard? I don't know. I guess while we're waiting for some questions here, we'll I don't know, maybe kind of recap last season. I know Joe didn't compete at finals, but like I said, he's our head SPO and R&E. So rules, questions, things like that, you can shoot them.
Going in and out.
But I guess I'd just maybe
sure.
You're cutting in and out. Yeah, you are. Uh-oh. 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 It broke. I'm broke. I'm by myself. I don't know what to do. There he is.
Yeah, I lost the connection. I don't know what happened.
Dang, that's usually me. Dang, you did it again.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Mr. Hibbert, we're here with Mr. Joseph Ault Sr. He is our head of R&E. And uh-oh. He froze on me again. Oh, there he goes. Now he moved.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's me. My computer likes to do that. It likes to just mess everything up.
It just says can't connect to the room and then kicking me off there. But it's on my side, it still seems to be connected, and then my phone is working, so I'm not sure.
All right. What kind of MECA kids rules are we talking about? Well, I think just a couple. I think maybe some of the doing demo stuff for MECA kids, like maybe adding an extreme for it. The battery rules. I think that was about the majority of it. It wasn't a whole lot. I've got it wrote down here.
Is there any rules that they, would like to see changed, or something that you want to add to it, or
what's going on, Mr. Petty? It's code. Everyone's breaking interwebs. Yeah. But it was only a couple things I had on my list there that I thought we needed to look at because the kids' classes are pretty simple for the most part. But yeah, I think maybe I had something in there about show and shine and ride the light since we offer it, but it's not really in the book. So I think I got something in there about that too. I'm actually getting ready to send that email in the morning. So I was working on it a little bit earlier. I don't know. I don't know necessarily. You're just the first one that, basically a lot of times it's just you're waiting until it happens to have to do it. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's the first time that my wheels spun on it or that I thought of it, but yes and no at the same time. What's going on, Mr. Beard? Mr. B-Craft? Uh, did I do good fishing the other day? Heck no. It was so foggy outside we couldn't really go nowhere. And it stayed foggy all day because it was warm and the water was like 40 degrees and it was like 60 outside. So unless you was looking outside of the bank, you couldn't see like 10 feet in front of the boat. It has its own rule book and stuff, Christina, and it's one of them things that we've had for a long time that, you know, if you know it's there, you know, and if you don't, you don't, I guess. But there is a rule book for it separately on the thing. I don't know that I'll be able to change any of the point stuff 100% this year just yet, but um, I wasn't really planning on it because we don't usually. A lot of times people don't do it at regular shows because it's light outside and people want it to be dark. So a lot of times people don't do it at regular shows. So that's the reason. That's the reason why it's a non-points class. What's going on, Mr. Ball? All right. Let's see. Wayne made you do stuffs today. That's cool. Well, I guess all right. I think I'm caught up. What's going on, Mr. Cody? How you doing? Oh, now you're getting told on, Hibbard. All right. Well, while we're waiting, I guess I'll ask Joe a couple things here since I'm just sitting here reading to you guys. Um, I guess just start with last season, what you thought about it, maybe finals.
I mean, I thought that we had a great season. Finals was one of the best ones I've been to. I've been to a lot of them, obviously, for over 20 years. So, being the 21st year in MECA, I think that the environment was definitely changed. Everything was. It's definitely the big thing for me was seeing a lot of new faces. Looking around the room like, wow, this is. I mean, it's not the same people. This is a big turnover. A lot of new people came last year.
Right.
I think I'd like to sit down sometime and figure that out. I think we've talked about it several times, but I'd like to see who's not competed before, or those kind of things, or even throughout the season. I look at a lot of results as we go over those shows and do all those things. And a lot of those names I don't recognize all the time, and I like that. I think that we got a lot of new people interested in the sport, and it's getting turned over. But going with that, it's very important for veterans, to reach out to people, and if you see them there, it's good to strike up a conversation with them and find out
Right.
where their head is and see where that is. I think that's something important to grow the sport. I think it's, I reached out to. I mean, I know you've done it a bunch, and that's just kind of our thing. We talk about all the time, like reaching out to people, or just letting them know, like the let them know they're part of something. We want them to be a part of the club. It's good to be part of the membership, and that's part of that is our fellowship. I think that's what makes us different. I used to go to a lot of DB drag shows back in the day, met a lot of people, but never really knew them. It's not really that way in MECA. We want to get to know people. We don't want that. You just ain't over there on the other side, and those people over there, and those people over there. That's just not our thing. It's always been
Right.
different over here.
So Mr. Hibbard says, how long have you been doing audio stuffs?
Well, I don't know. My first show I think I went to in 2001. That was a DB drag show. and then right after that, soon after, was a MECA show, and I didn't get really involved in it. I didn't really have time then, life stuff. But then I really got involved with MECA in 2004 was my first year. I went to finals. It's the first year that I competed at finals was 2004. Completed a full season and kind of been around since then in some sort of fashion or another with MECA. It's 2004.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Brad Beastcraft says, what's your biggest accomplishment in MECA over the years?
Well, obviously for most of us, our biggest accomplishment is getting the Alma Gates Award. I don't know about anybody else, but to me, that's always been the biggest accomplishment. But that's probably the large one. That's getting that and getting that award. But I don't know. To me, I get more accomplishment out of. It would be several times throughout that time is when I've coached somebody to a world championship. To me, I won my share. I 12, and I appreciate every single one of those, and I worked hard for every one of those, But to me, I don't know. I feel I get way more accomplishment out of it. Like the missus this year, she won, her 4th and 5th world championships. To me, that means more. Like Hasledge won S1. Coaching them, coaching them to, be a better competitor and, teaching them the sport, those sort of things. I mean, and as far as me and you go back, I mean, I don't know. That's, that's how me and you started talking. Is you just, messaged me, and then it was that sort of thing,
Yeah.
Coach you with what I knew, and then we've grown off each other for a long time.
Dang, Joe just made me feel fuzzy. I'm his biggest accomplishment in MECA.
Those are my biggest accomplishments. If I could help coach somebody, the big time for me that was, I was real proud and I was real happy. And this does involve you. That it was a year, the year you won S5, and I couldn't make it, life stuff. I couldn't make it to finals. And I remember we were going over to box design for a long time. We worked on that, the 415 box design. We talked about it. We're going over how we're testing and we're talking about those things all the time and going over that stuff, and then you got the finals and, you're like, all I need is just a little more, And I remember like being up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning after you ran to Home Depot to grab, 2x4s and stuff to put in the box and shrink the box and work on that. And then, you made, you got your world championship out of that, gained some score. I thought that was a big accomplishment and something I remember because, that was something that, even though I couldn't be there, I was able to,
right,
support you in that way and, help you be successful for something you wanted. I know you wanted it bad. You worked awful hard for it that year.
Yeah. That was a good one, I guess. There was a lot of them back then.
Yeah. Like I said, that one just, sticks out to me because of, where you were from day 1 to day 2 and, you didn't give up at finals even though you were down a bit.
What else here? What's going on, Mr. Don? Your dad and mom said hi. Mr. Aaron, Mr. Conehead. All right, I think I shouted everybody I see. Jeffrey Sanford does not get any stickers because he's not new.
That's a rookie of the year.
In 20 years, what do you think is your proudest accomplishment? I thought that's what we were just talking about, Zach. I think he said the Alma Gates Award. Jeffrey's sad because I didn't tell him he was new.
I seen back where
some people might not remember, but I remember. Pepperidge Farms remembers.
I seen back a bit where Zach asked the question about the most valuable thing you can do, starting off, and
okay.
That's just what I've seen. I mean, Wayne and Matt can tell you, we have our, our Chiari chat and, we talk in there all the time and man, I follow up up with them. Like, I'm, they're testing, they're doing whatever, they're working on that. I follow up with them, and I feel like just keeping at it is Matt worked his car to death last year, and, he really wanted, that, get where he was and do those things. And then, we're always, Wayne is, was able to realize his goal this year and get his Mod Street 2 World Championship. That was huge. And that's just, because he kept at it, built a new box, not long before finals, and, was a gain, and that helped him out. But just stay at it. I mean, that's the big thing to me, is that even sometimes, and this is what I remember talking with Bud about this a long time ago. Sometimes you just burp it to burp. You're not learning anything. You're just doing it, but it brings something to you.
Yeah, it's hard to learn. It's hard to learn when you're doing that to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, on one hand, I'll tell you that, the same thing, the testing and stuff is the most important thing. But on the other hand, I will tell you, burping it without a cause does not help. And
Nope.
It'll probably confuse you more than it'll help you. So, that's one thing. If you can discipline yourself to have a cause every time you burp the car, you'll find a lot more progress. I think having a meter, for those of you that don't, I mean, if I was just going to come off the top of my head and suggest things,
Yeah,
those are
nothing's
the
gonna get you louder than a
things.
meter.
My favorite thing to tell people, and I think that's kind of what you were hitting on there about, they try awful hard, or they worked awful hard, or whatever. My favorite thing to tell people is can't, never could. But you do got to be careful. Sometimes you're just chasing your tail, or you're just, like Joe said, you'll end up at a place where you're kind of wasting time, really, is what you're doing. But if you have a purpose and you're learning something, then keep on keeping on.
Yeah, take good records too. That's, we got a notebook full of stuff. I mean, back in the day, I used to have tons and tons of testing data, stuff that I know. Now I take pictures and, go back to that kind of stuff and look back through and then look at those things. I think that's the biggest thing too, along with, the correct testing, like we were just talking about, that you're not just burping a burp, and then, if you're making a change, you make one change at a time, and then you see how that affects it, and then also back that up. Like if you see it's a gain, then you got to make the change. If you can change that back to what you just did, change it back to hurt the score, and then come back. Make sure you want to verify those changes. And then sometimes you have to revisit changes, because once you make one change, that could also affect everything else. So just because pushing that passenger door worked before, and then you made some other changes, then the passenger door may not help anymore, because you've changed what you've done. You've changed the way that it is. So those things you just got to kind of revisit. You got to keep move forward, and then take a couple steps backwards and make sure that what you're doing is the correct way, because you could hurt yourself. Some score falls off, and then you're starting back at zero.
All right, let's see here. Martin Gotel says, how long should I hold my burps? I think it depends on what you're doing, what class you might be running, but I'd say you probably need about, especially with the new update, probably 3 to 5 seconds. I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm with you, because I'd say at least 5 with the. But if you're rolling up for power, that's a whole different story. But if you're just flat out burping because you do a full power score, then yeah, at least 5 seconds. I just do a count in my head usually.
What's going on, Mr. Cassidy?
When you're testing, one way to find that out, to know that that's how long that is and what works for your system, is if you have the bar graph at the bottom and you burp it and you see like a kind of a funky bar graph at the bottom where it's more rounded, then that means you didn't hold it long enough. When you burp that, the bottom of the bar graph should be very clear. You should see a very clear 1, 2, 3. That's notes that are the loudest there. So you burp at 55, you see your 54, 55, 56. If that is peaked and then that's squared, that means you got your full note out. Sometimes if you see that, like a big hump there, you didn't hold it long enough.
Secret's out.
But then what I'm saying is if you do that during testing, then you can get the feel for knowing how long that takes.
Yep, keeping notes of everything definitely helps.
Yeah, very important.
Whether it's on whether you got a computer, a phone, actual notebook, a spreadsheet, whatever you use, it's always good to keep that stuff so you can remember. And like Joe said, a lot of what makes sound pressure fun and not fun at the same time is, as you're testing stuff, you've always got to go back to the front of the list and retest it as you find new stuff. So, it's always good to have your list of things that you've tried so that when you go back and retry them, you'll find, like he said, sometimes you'll find things that all of a sudden it'll work, or all of a sudden it'll quit working, or, it actually hurt you instead of helped you, where before you did, whatever it was you did along the way, a lot of the vehicle setup and bracing things are things that you're constantly going back over and over and over again. So it's always good to have notes, because as you change things inside the car, in the cabin, things like that, all of those things will change. So sound pressure's fun. Okay.
Before I got a little more seasoned, when I was a rookie, I didn't want to make mistakes at finals or those sort of things. And I used to have a list on my window. Like when I went up, I had a list taped to my window so I didn't forget anything while I was in the lane ready to run at finals. Like I took the time and looked at my checklist, made sure everything was fine, because I've seen people make stupid mistakes like in the lane and lose at finals because they didn't put their seat back, or they did this or they did that, or something happened and they forgot to do something and cost them some score and they lost, or whatever, cost them equipment, those sort of things. But yeah, just the little checklist I used to make and keep on my window when I would run. I'd print that off just to make sure that I had a correct note, correct volume, all those things, just as a quick little checklist before I run.
Yep, pictures are always good too. What's your opinion on epoxy in boxes versus bare wood?
Well, to me, I mean, if you're using MDF, it's porous, so it's absolutely necessary for me for if you're using an MDF box or something. But I think there's other things that go along with that sealing and protecting the wood, because it gets weathered pretty quick. Like even birch or those sort of things, when you leave it unprotected like that, I think it just even if you're just keeping it from getting weathered, screwing and unscrewing, you're doing all these sort of things. I think it gets weathered after a bit when you don't finish it.
Yeah, I mean, I think most times, if the box is correct and it's sealed of all the air leaks and stuff, you might not see a huge difference in score unless, you took out enough airspace or something like that. But, um, it can definitely help on score too. But I agree. I mean, I pretty much use resin or epoxy and inside of all of my boxes. I don't necessarily always finish them though. I don't even remember the last time I finished a box, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I meant finishing by putting a
Well,
finish on
no,
it.
I mean I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
I think you know what I mean too.
I probably have that box here, that single 15 box. That might be the last one you finish, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I had the one that the 215 box we had. I mean, I finished it, but it wasn't finished. I just went ahead and painted it and stuff just so it will look all right, I guess. But yeah, so I mean, we use it. Wayne said epoxy ordered.
We missed out, man. They had some good Black Friday epoxy sales, so we grabbed some of those gallons they had on Amazon. We ain't building at this moment, but still needed it because it was a
Right?
good deal, I guess. But
I should have got
no,
some.
yeah, we're going to use it. So
I just don't know when I'll ever use any of it. I heard lead paint makes your rise drop. Oh. I don't know about all that. I do know that if you take the carpet and the foam out from underneath your box, it can't rise as far.
tie your box down, then you have no rise.
Oh man.
It's got to be
Uh,
mounted. Its equipment's got to be mounted.
yeah. What is she crying for? My dog's crying. Only if you eat the chips that fell off of the paint, huh? Oh man. All right. Well, I guess we'll wait for a few more questions, but until then, I don't know. Anything you'd like to see happen this year? What do you think about this year? You got any goals this year for the club, for yourselves?
Oh, I
Uh,
hope that once we know, we want to definitely want to see the largest finals. We definitely there seems to be, and me and you. I say this to you every single year. Like we'll know how the next season is going to be by what the 3X looks like at finals. That's always been my idea, and it's always been my thing. Like I always feel like that's just a good gauge for what's going to happen the next year. I feel like when that's full, and things are doing that means people are excited, and they're ready to get back in the lane, so they'll be ready for the season. And I
right.
feel like every year when we see that that 3X have good participation at finals, the next year is going to be a big year. And man, this year I don't know if anybody paid attention, but man, that line was wrapped around the building almost the whole day for the 3X. It was long.
Yeah, I think we did 89 entries for the 3X, so that was pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Let's see. Do you think competing with your lady has made the bond stronger over the year?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It gives us something. Well, unless we have to load the truck on the trailer, then that's not when the bond is good.
Then one of us has
Yeah.
to leave, right?
Somebody's gonna get yelled at. Me and Winnie don't
Oh,
usually have too many disagreements about things, and we never really get too excited about anything, and never really have too much of a conflict. I gotta say that's definitely the conflict is loading the truck, getting it on there right, and I get so uptight about it. I don't know. I just don't want to kill somebody. I don't want the truck coming off, and I don't want nobody getting hurt, and I don't want us to get hurt. You know, so man, it's just nerve wracking for me.
could you fill the entire cabin with polyfill during a run for science? You could do it for science, but not during a run.
You know what you
I don't really think it'll be helping you, but uh, I mean, especially outside of the defined cargo area of the class,
you know
and
what you
then
could do though? You could use packing peanuts and put them in the vehicle, and then burp it and see how things flow around your cabin. You know,
yeah, you could do that.
that's definitely something that I've seen other people do in the past and have done that in walls and worked on that sort of things to find dead spots in the walls. Put packing peanuts in there and watch them float around.
Yeah, or the or I've seen them use like a string and a ball, and smoke and sand and what else? I don't know. But you can see tangs and stuff with it.
Maybe I'm giving. Maybe we can't not do this. Maybe give away too many secrets.
Maybe.
No, I'll share with anybody. I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. I'll share whatever. I help people in my own class. I don't care. Nathan can tell you. He knows. Even when we first met each other, I didn't know anything about the guy. I still offered to help. I'll help anybody. I don't care. That's what I'm talking about. Going back to the fellowship that we had.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm caught back up again here finally. He said no. He said you don't need his phone number. You're in his house every day when he comes home.
I'll be back in 1 second.
All right. Hey. What? Uh-oh. It's never good when Matt and Wayne have a collaboration, huh? You and Matt was talking about doing the peanuts thing. What's going on, Mr. Nichols? Glad you were out there too. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything here. It doesn't look like I did. See you later, Mr. Sindel or Sindel. He's back.
Sorry,
No.
Sorry, I had a 3D. I was 3D printing that, and I had a catastrophe. It must have grabbed it or something happened there. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it pulled it off the bed and was scrapping everywhere, making noise. I had to hurry up and get it off there. It didn't stick to my bed.
Uh-oh. Another vehicle. What else we got to talk about, Joe?
How you were asking about our goals for this year, like our personal goals. We're gonna run Mod Street 4, so that when you can try to win all of our Mod Street classes. That's our goal this year.
Uh-oh. You gotta do some more building.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of different directions. I don't know that we're trying to work on this year. I don't know exactly what's going to be, what we're going to end up with, but I got a lot of things in the fire trying to figure this out, what we're going to do.
This is a good question. I don't know, and I may or may not have a good answer. Me and Joe could probably answer it, but I think this is a pretty good question. What's going on, Tully? Say you have several people telling you to go in different directions. How does one sort through the BS?
Well, what's their motive for helping you? Like, are they a person that usually helps, or is they a person in your class, or are they? I mean, what's their motive? That'd be the first thing I think about. Like, what's that person like? Is that, and are they a person who's accomplished? Like, I mean, you're gonna take advice from somebody who's never really been there, done that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's the quality of advice that and then even if all that takes out, just test it yourself. Because even if I give you advice, and this has happened with Wayne and Matt. Like, I've given them advice and that's worked for us, but didn't necessarily work for them. But it's something we got to try though. I mean, it's something you gotta work on. Not everything works for everybody.
Will you shut up?
Yeah, I mean, I think sound pressure is one of them things that, like, first of all, there's more than one way to skin a cat, or
Right.
however you want to say it or look at it. There's more than one path to get to the same spot, type of a deal. Um, the best way to sort through it is try it and see if it works, I suppose. But I will say that I would suggest that you pick a person or a team of persons that are kind of on the same page and you go with that, because when you start adding too much outside stuff, then it makes it hard for, if you're listening to four different people and the other guy don't know you're listening to three other people, then it can make it hard for him to know you did three other things too. um so there's that part of it. Also, like I said, since there's more than one path to get there, if you're listening to two or three guys and all three of them know how to do it and all three of them are proven to know how to get there, and you're listening to three different ways of getting there, you're going to end up screwed up and you're going to go the wrong damn way. Um, and that's just from experience, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not that everybody, you can't just listen to everybody, because everybody has different ways of looking at it, different theories. I mean, I can go on forever and ever, but there's still plenty of guys that might not see it the same way as me that can do the same thing or maybe even better, or whatever. But it's just understanding that maybe not everybody is really wants to help you. What, like Joe said, what's their motive? Is there an agenda? um you know but generally you can figure it out, and once you do, like I said, I suggest having a maybe a group of persons that you can follow, but they need to be closely on the same page, because otherwise you'll end up in a place where either the three dudes is mad at you because they, at the end of the day, if you're showing me what you're doing and I can see the stuff, I can see. So at that point, then maybe that guy quits giving you the right help, or he just tells you some BS. I mean, I don't know. I've been around for a long time, so I've seen many different scenarios on that. So, my suggestion is, find somebody that you like, or that is willing to take you under their wing, that you vibe with. And, I'm not saying close your ears after that. I'm just saying, if you're working with somebody closely, make sure they understand. If you find out another idea or a different suggestion, you know, they have to understand what you're doing also. I don't know. I think that's kind of my 2 cents on it, and I could talk about that one for a while, but I think that's pretty good answer on that one. Let's see. Have we started the motor mouth ordeal? I mean, yeah, it starts already. What happened to Josh Coe? I don't really know what that means. As far as I know, he had an equipment malfunction, and I'm hoping to see him back bigger and better next time. Uh, is Curtis's van legal? Uh, I don't know yet. Does dry ice help? Absolutely, but you can't use it. Uh, why can't I beat Joe? Because you can't use dry ice and he can. Uh, and if you can't get a championship this year, you got to change tactics. So you got to get dry ice in your car like Joe, but don't let nobody find out. No, that's all a joke. Okay. I'm sure some people will take that to the bank. I just sang a gospel song. Take it to the bank. No. Uh, Let's see. It was a joke. That whole segment was a joke. Dang.
Dan's over there putting a smackdown on, like
Dang.
taking it out of context.
There's never enough Deadner. That's pretty much true. So, uh, well, actually, I mean, that's a good question, Joshua. But all one has to do is read our rule book, and I think most of the organizations that have been around the block a time or two have a rule in their rule book that basically says you cannot introduce gas or any foreign substance into the cabin of the vehicle during your pass. So the answer to that is no. Is the dry ice a joke? No, the dry ice is not a joke, but you can't use it because that's introducing gas into the cabin. But no, it's not a joke. But yes, it is a joke because you can't do it here anyways. But I mean, if you can find a place that'll let you, yes, it will help.
People do a lot of things to cool down their or heat up their cabin. It just depends on what the vehicle likes. So
Well,
temperature
yeah, I
wise,
mean, no, it's not necessarily guaranteed that it's going to
you
help,
know.
but I mean,
No, I know
yes,
what you're saying. No, I'm saying, I'm just, as a side note, I'm just saying that people do use different things. Like at finals, we used a little, AC kind of cooler thing that just used like frozen ice packs, and then it just blew that cool air, into our car the whole time
yeah,
because we
you could
needed to
use
keep a certain
ACs
temperature.
or dehumidifiers or
Yeah.
heaters or things like that. You just can't use anything that's putting off a gas.
Obviously, not during our run. We just use that to prep, in our stall and keep
Yeah, I
that
guess you
consistent.
could put it on the roof if you want your deadener to crack off, Kenneth. Can I do like the fishermen in the 90s and put a tank, put a fish tank in my build?
Yeah, like he said, yeah, it just depends on the vehicle. I think it has something to do with deadener or whatever else, like how much deadener you have or what your tuning is compared to your deadener or whatever. I think you're either making the cabin stiffer or softer, and then that helps your tuning with your from what you're tuned with. I think that's what's more about the temperature wise is about the deadener and how that affects your tuning.
Generally, vehicles that don't have enough deadener like it cold. Vehicles that have more than enough or enough will generally start to like it as you heat it up because you're actually making it flex. So I think Joe's right on with his little thought there. I'm just a keep it simple, stupid guy, so I'll tell you so you can so that my dummy self can understand it.
Yeah, my Explorer loved heat. That was definitely the thing with my Explorer. But then our Colorado, we have. I mean, there's a ton of deadener in the Colorado too. Um, but yeah, it doesn't seem to that it just likes a consistent temperature. I don't know if necessarily it's cold. It just likes 65 degrees with no humidity. If you can stay there, it does the same score every single time. It really likes that, like 65 and no humidity. That's been our best with our truck. Well, my Explorer, it likes it to be 100 degrees inside of there, no humidity, and then the outside of it cold. That just seems to be the best thing for me. So finals is good because it's cooler, and then I can just turn the heat on inside. But that's when I've done my best scores, and the Explorer has been cold outside and hot inside.
Well, I mean, another thing I always did since I mean, so far in finals is usually in October-ish, so it's usually cool outside. Anything anyway. So I always built like tuned and tested a lot for score in the night or when it was the coolest outside, so that I could try to mimic that. and then you'd have to change some things maybe when it was hot, but uh, I mean, generally you could find the same scores both directions. You just have to find what the car liked for each scenario. And then, I think once you start getting closer and closer to having the right amount of deadener and stuff, the temperatures and things, it gets more consistent, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
Yeah, that's Ohio too. That's why we have to make our own environment.
I do know the majority of them don't like moisture. So,
Yeah, it's definitely every vehicle I've worked with. Yeah, the humidity being high is usually not helpful.
is there a limit to how many people you can have as holders? In MECA, no, there's not. There is a limit on the sandbags. They can't be laid across any of the windows, but they can push and sit on metal, and they can push on windows. They just can't sit on them. But other than that, no, we don't have a limit on that. The bags have been limited for the past like 2 or 3 years, Kenneth. They've had a limit on them basically since, except for the first year. So how long has it been? Was it like you were talking about sandbags? Yeah, it. We put a limit on them right after the first year we allowed it. So the limit on bags is 10, and it's been that way.
Little Lexi wanted to say hi.
It's funny to me how people has all these things to say about the rules and they don't even know them. No, I'm not changing that. I don't understand why we would.
That goes back to the
It's more of a safety thing to me. Well, I don't. I mean, I just don't want people laying on the windows. That's really all I'm talking about. But no, I'm not going to change that. I mean, people can say they don't like it, but why? And don't tell me it's because we don't drive down the road like that, because we don't drive down the road with meters in our cars neither. So I don't know. I guess maybe that's my unpopular opinion on that.
Yeah, I personally like the bags over people, that sort of thing. I saw hashes go through his windshield because we were testing that way.
Well, I mean, and most of the guys using them are probably driving around with them in their car, so there's that too.
Just not on the windshield, right? We drive into the lane with them on the windshield, right?
No, I'm just talking smack. But no, I'm not planning on messing with that. We'll leave that the way it is, most likely. That hadn't even been on my radar. Where am I missing? I'm trying to catch up now. All right. There is a guy driving. I mean, I've seen it too. I'm just talking crap. But no, uh, after 10,000 watts, it's pretty much unlimited after that. And I don't think I have any plans on changing that. I haven't had anybody really say much about it, so I doubt we'll change any of that. I mean, personally, once you get over 10K, that's a high power system, anyways, in my opinion. But I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't know that there's a big, huge need for it. I don't know. Uh, I don't know what Joe thinks about that, but
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I think once you get past 10,000 watts, you're kind of because there isn't that isn't the majority. Like you go to a show and at 10,000 watts, there'll be people with with more, but it's not like 40,000 watts is a regular. It'll be like 17,000 watts because they got a bunch of 8Ks or something. Things like
right,
that. It's not usually 10K versus 40K. It's usually 10K, 10, 12, 13K versus, that same sort of thing. And then there'll be one vehicle that has 40,000 watts, not at every show, like one in a state, it's not very prevalent.
yeah. I think me and Joe's brought it up. We brought that up last year also, but and we're gonna talk about it again. So yeah, that is on there.
Yeah. That's
But
probably one of the top things
the
on the list.
sandbags wasn't because you're the first person I've heard say anything about the bags in a while. So other than I mean, other than people that are just crying to cry. See you later, Nate. Yeah, you're gonna blow yours out. Most likely a S1 car from Ohio. Why is that? If y'all think I didn't like Sam that much, I'd just deny his membership. Oh, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
I missed what that was about. I didn't know what he was talking about for the S1 from Ohio.
Oh, 40K watts. I see what you're saying now.
Uh,
Well, I don't know very many 40,000 watt amplifiers, but I know what you mean.
well, when you have a vehicle that has a 2 ohm sub that rises to 8 ohms, I mean, kind of got to use a 20K or something like that to even make enough power. But I don't know. That's why it's clamped.
Right?
I mean,
Anybody else?
there's vehicles like the S2 vehicles, right? They're 20Ks and S2 vehicles. So. I mean, we don't limit that in any class. I mean, that's the same thing. It's you, you know, what's the potential of that? I mean, there's other vehicles that use 20. I mean, they use those 20Ks are used or 40Ks or whatever use big amps across the whole board when you have to try to make power.
Yeah, pretty much, Maurice. All right, Chris, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you that it ain't going to solve nothing that I ain't already solved. I don't know what else we could do to show you any different, but I'm going to be honest with you. Since you're the king of clamp meters, you can fool the flukes too, bro. So there's that part. And just because y'all don't know it or didn't figure it out, don't mean it can't be done. But there's that part. You just can't fool it as bad. But I don't know how you can still how you think you can fool DC input. I'm still confused on that. So, I mean, I don't really see any. I've done both, and I promise you the DC input is more reliable than doing it on the AC side. But I mean, we could do both, so I could show you. But I'm just saying,
We didn't just arbitrarily come up with checking
I
DC.
didn't just make that up.
Yeah, I mean,
I
there's a
just
reason
don't
why we
like to
check
share
DC.
all that information publicly. But since you want to come on here and try to get on me, I'll tell you. I mean, if you want to fool them, you can fool any of them with AC current, and that's just the bottom line. So, if you want to, two conductor ain't gonna fix it. I know you do, but I'm just being honest. Because at the end of the day, you and me both knows it don't matter what we do with that rule. The people that are going to win are going to find a way. So I feel like it's beating a dead horse. You love to get on everybody. I ain't mad at you. I'm just telling you my opinion.
I could tell you that there was a lot of work with about the DC amp clamp and why we started doing that and why we started working with that because I did a lot of testing in my own vehicle and went back and forth and tested a lot of things, test other people's vehicles to see. And if you start doing something funky, because we've done that, you clamp it, you do whatever, and you can definitely see a huge difference in that DC current draw when you start looking at that. It gets to be pretty obvious, to me. I mean, you could clamp that wrong and lose a couple amps on here or whatever on your, and it's still going to make a difference. You're still going to see the difference.
What's going on, Mr. Rick Forness? Yep. Me and Chris was in that twin bed. Yep.
I think both of you would hang off a twin bed if you laid in them. Hang off the ends of the twin bed. I don't know how you guys would fit. Like you guys are both too big for that.
All right. Anybody got any other questions?
Head to toe, you guys might fit.
Well, I mean, he did say he was going to get on me, so I mean, I guess we might fit. Oh shit! Oh, that was bad. Timeout. I got timeout. All right, y'all. Well, I guess we've been on here for an hour. Y'all got any other questions?
Is there any rules anybody wants to look at?
Anything else to get on me about?
Besides clamping, no fuses, no clamping. Those are things we don't talk about. There's something else we want to talk about. And sandbags. Leave the sandbags alone.
Did Joe get his rings back? Are you talking about the top plate things?
Yeah, I did not get those back yet.
No. I still don't know if I got them or not, but I think if I do, they got to be in my camper, but I ain't been out there since it started getting cold. Any idea if we'll get rid of amp restrictions in lower classes? No. What shows in Alabama for 2026? As they submit them, they'll go on the calendar totally. So if it's not on the calendar, it hasn't been submitted within the last week. So as they go on the calendar on the website, I'll try to let you know. And when I'm on the live, I usually go, a week or two ahead and tell you what's coming up. But I'm not sure 100% what's scheduled there right this time. The new rule book should be ready hopefully by the 1st of February. That's the goal. I don't like my answer either, Wayne, but that's the answer. All right. I guess I'll let you get on off here, Joe, if you want to say any last things to the folks.
No, just make sure you're supporting your event promoter and stuff in your state. That's make sure you're taking care of your promoter. That's the whole reason why we have a place to play radios, is taking care of those guys, and then ultimately that takes care of MECA and everybody. So it's important. We want to have a place to play radios. We got to take care of people. Make sure we're out supporting them, whatever we can do to help them out. Raffle items, whatever you could do to do that. A little bit here or there helps all those guys. It doesn't take much.
I don't think we'll be changing anything in install currently, Philip. All right, I'm going to let Joe get off here, and then we'll get ready to close this out. I appreciate everybody coming on here with me tonight. What's going on, Ed? Make sure you like it, share it, all that good stuff. Follow it, subscribe, do whatever you do there, I guess. I hope everybody has a happy and safe New Year's. Tomorrow should be fun for everybody. I hope everybody has fun and stays safe. I'll see you guys again next week. I guess it'll be 2026 at that time. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Anybody else got any other questions before I hop off of here? Let's see, chat box. All right, it doesn't look like it. All right, you guys, until next time, keep it loud and clear, MECA heads.